In exercise 14, we're going to implement the selection changed function. In this function, we'll load the microengine.json file via an AJAX call. Then, we will retrieve part information for the selected node ID. Finally, we'll update the node name and node price elements. This exercise simulates dynamically linking your own data to nodes in the WebViewer assembly tree. This exercise is a little more complex, so let's jump into the code and have a look. Before we begin implementing the selection changed event, let's have a look at the microengine.json file. This file contains an object with a single key, node data. Node data is an array of items representing each part of the microengine assembly. Each item has a number of keys that we will use to update HTML elements in our application. The ID element in this file corresponds to a node ID in the WebViewer assembly tree. This is how we will link up the data in this row to the corresponding node in the viewer. The name and price elements will be used to fill in corresponding text boxes. Now that we're familiar with the file, let's jump into the exercise. For this exercise, we will start with an empty selection changed function. The selection parameter is a Communicator selection event object. You'll need to use the data contained in this object to make a request for the microengine JSON file. Then, you will need to pull the relevant data from the response and populate the node name and node price elements. So, now, fill in the code between the comments for exercise 14. Pause the video now and resume when you have finished, and we will review the answer. Okay, hopefully you were able to complete this exercise. Let's walk through the code. The first thing we want to do is make sure that we have an item in our selection result. If we do, then we will make an AJAX request for our microengine.json file. When the file has been loaded, we will search through the elements to find the one that matches the ID of the node we just selected. Once we find the matching item, we will then set the node name and node price elements with the corresponding values of the JSON data. In the event that we did not select a part, we will set the name and price elements to some default values. Let's now load our application and see how this looks in practice. So we can see now that if we click on parts in the microengine, the node info box updates to say the name and price of each item we clicked.